From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. It is Wednesday, 12/14. We have about, 17 days left to go in the year. Christmas is right around the corner as well, too. It's going to be next week, to be exact. So I know people are getting really excited about that. So, and it falls on a Sunday, too. So it's like, that's kind of nuts. You know what I mean? And New Year's Day falls on a Sunday as well, too. So that means the Rose Bowl won't be played until Monday. So what do we have here? We have a bunch to talk about here. We have up first, the Warriors lose again on the road. Where has the Magic gone for the defending champions? Now, I did tweet out earlier about, why are we not paying attention to the Warriors and this tragic season that they're having on the road? They're just absolutely dreadful on the road right now. At the end of the day, it's not acceptable. I don't care who you guys are and what you guys think of them. They are 3-3 on the month, though. Okay, I will give them that. But all those wins came at home, and they are now 0-2 on the road for this month. Now they've actually been better, though. They lost by 1 against Utah, but last night they lost by 17 to Milwaukee. Steph Curry has not been shooting the ball that great on the road as well either. He had 20 points last night, but he was 3 of 10 from 3, 6 of 17 from the field last night. That's not really in a -20 last night as well, too. So, Steph Curry's not doing Steph Curry things, but he still led all scorers last night as well. Klay Thompson, once again, only 14 points in 27 minutes of ball. Jordan Poole had 18, and then Kuminga was pretty good off the bench last night, but Vizentino, Vizentino, you know what I mean? I used to say his name so properly. Now I'm just kind of blowing through it. DiVincenzo, yeah. So he gets to 16 last night, and then after that, it's just a big fall off. Draymond Green had his 2 points last night. That's just not enough at the end of the day to help your team get to where they need to get. They shot 95 shots, hit 38 of them, 40% from the field. They put up 20 3-pointers last night as well, too. 20 of 50 3-pointers, 40% from the 3-point, and then we're 15 and 19 from the stripe last night. And when you look at it, they did well in the assist category. They had 25 of those last night, and they didn't even have the most turnovers, but they still had 18 of them. So, when you look at it, you possibly say, damn, they did lose by a lot, and they scored 60 points from the 3-point line. But after that, though, they didn't do much inside. So I'm just looking at this. I said that it seems like they're just taking a lot. They had more possessions than the Bucks. That's my point last night, and they still lost this game by 17 points. So they can complain and talk about refs as much as they want to, but once you become a champion in this league and multiple time champion in this league, and if you got 3 or 4 in the span of 5, 6, 7 years, they're not going to keep giving you the cheapies. Okay, you don't get to have the same to the refs that you can play through. That's the mentality that they have. Jordan and the Bulls had to deal with it. Kobe and the Lakers had to deal with it. Magic and the Lakers had to deal with it somewhat, and the Celtics had to deal with it as well too, where it seems like when you're struggling that the refs aren't cooperating, but that's not far from the truth. The Warriors know that they're going to get everybody's best shot when they play them, but they've just been absolutely dreadful on the road. And I just keep bringing it up because it's a money burning stat. And I know a lot of people trust the Warriors, and the Warriors have blown a lot of money for people this year. That's all I can say, because they're 2-12 on the road. That's awful. They've played 14 games, they've won 2. And then when it comes to covering a spread, they're 3-11. And I don't know why this team keeps being a slight favorite on the road or being just a little tiny dog on the road, because it's really, really, a detriment to bettors' bankroll right now when you're dealing with the Warriors on the road, because you really don't want to fade them, but you don't want to keep losing money on them as well too. So what I say is, when you're dealing with a Warriors game, you might as well just play the over under, or just skip it if it's on the road. You know what I mean? So I think they'll get it together by the time we get to 2023 and we get into a new year and things like that. But right now, they are absolutely dreadful on the road, and they have another road game tonight against the Pacers. And tonight, they are a 2.5-point dog in that game. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But the Warriors got to get it together, man. Got to get it together. Where is the magic? It's not there right now. All right. So we move forward, and let's jump into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be Mr. Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa has signed himself a fatty deal. Carlos Correa signs with Giants for 13 years, $350 million. Will it boom or bust? And I know Dodger Nation is like, why does everybody keep signing people? We're not signing anybody. I'm not happy about this. We need to sign. We need to go sign somebody so we can feel better about ourselves. The Dodgers have the deepest farm system in baseball. Okay, the Dodgers have the best pitchers in baseball as well too. It doesn't matter that they lost 5 guys who were who were all not good. At the end of the day, like, they weren't really good. Tommy Kaline, not good. Martin, when did he ever pitch? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, the Dodgers moved on from guys that were already knowing that they weren't going to be a part of the Dodgers next year. Craig Kimbrell is not coming back either. So you guys are really, really, like, you're really off of how you feel. But let me stick to the script. Let me stick to the subject. Carlos Correa just got paid. Is it a boom or bust situation? The Giants are hoping for a boom, but I feel a big bust coming on, because Correa is good, but if he doesn't have really good players around him, then how good can he be? That's the biggest question that I have for the Giants right now. And I think the Giants did make a move to where they look really good on paper right now. They did sign a good amount of guys right now that are very feasible players moving forward. But Ross Stripling, come on, dude, was a throwaway by the Dodgers. You know what I mean? He's okay. He's decent. But he was just a middle of the road pitcher with the Dodgers. So I know they're looking at that because they have an extensive scouting report on Stripling as well, too. But I feel like, the Giants got desperate. They want to splash and get a big name to their team this year because they didn't get Aaron Judge. They had this idea that Aaron Judge was possibly coming, and Correa was always an option, from what Carlos Baegra said, former Indian as well, too, one of my favorites. He used to play second base, probably the buffest second baseman you'll ever see in your life, too. And he had that cool swing. And so pretty much Carlos Correa get signed. Carlos Baegra had already confirmed that he was going to probably sign with the Giants, and that was like last week. So they finally got the deal done. 13 years, $350 million. The Dodgers, I think the Dodgers did not want to be the stars of the winter meeting. You know what I mean? But the Giants did, and they wound up being like the poppers of the winter meetings. But people have to understand, everything doesn't go down at the winter meeting. That's just a great way for the media to be able to be right outside to interview somebody, and they get to break stories much quicker than they usually do. So, it's just it's not much to it. You know what I mean? So Carlos Correa playing in the Bay. What does this mean for the Giants moving forward? It means that the Giants will be right there in the mix of things with the Dodgers and the Padres. We already knew that coming into this season, because at the end of the day, the Dodgers are always going to be motivated by those 3 rings that the Giants have gotten the last decade, and the Giants are always going to be motivated by this last 10 years that the Dodgers have dominated the NL West. So these guys are always going to be the arch rivals of the division. I know San Diego wants to figure out a way to get some attention, but it's always going to be about Dodgers, Giants in the West. And whoever really is the better team out those two usually is the team that will be for sure in the playoffs as well too. So I do truly feel like these guys will be playing some very intense baseball this year. It's good to see that the Giants have added a superstar because they were really running with a lot of journeymen and homegrown players. But this is a good look, and it kind of reminds me of what they did when they brought in Barry Bonds. Correa is no Barry, but you can tell exactly how the Giants are moving to bring in these players. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And they still have Chris Bryant there as well, too. So that should be fun. You got Chris Bryant and you got Carlos Correa there. So it should be a lot of fun moving forward. Or did Chris Bryant go to no. Chris Bryant isn't there anymore. He's with the Rockies, right? I gotta look that up. So pretty much it should be good. So let's move forward and get into some NFL news real quick. OBJ. I know I'm over here kind of, just jumping on topics, but I just wanted to talk about this real quick. OBJ likely to sit out until 2023 free agency period. What is his trade value moving forward? His trade value moving forward, his true value moving forward to me is not much because he's already did everything that you could do as a top player in the NFL. Only thing that he can bring to your locker room is wisdom. That's it. And I think that OBJ is very stuck on a time in life where he was seen as one of the better receivers in the league. And we all know when he got to the Rams, he was very fortunate to get into a very good situation there because he was running with the guy who was the best receiver in the NFL last year, Cooper Kupp. And then he had the vet, Matt Stafford, there as well, too, to get the ball to him. And then you got a great play caller in McVay as well, too. So it worked out very well because it was a dream team type situation. So you're going to look really good when you're on the dream team. And OBJ was pretty much the missing link that they needed to get to the Super Bowl. He helped them get a touchdown early in that game as well, too. That was the difference at the end of the day as well, too, because if you take back the OBJ touchdown, really in reality, the Bengals actually rolled. So, this was a fun game. It was a fun season for OBJ, but it was unfortunate that he got hurt during that game. Now, he has blown his knee out twice in the last 3 years, to be exact. And, it happened in Cleveland and it happened in LA. So teams are taking a major risk with this guy moving forward if they were to bring him in. So I truly do feel like what you do in this OBJ situation is that you really sit up in here and make sure you don't overpay this guy. And I know that there's going to be a team out there that does overpay him because he got a good enough agent to where he's going to get this man paid. We all know that as well, too. So I would say this. I would say his best bet would be going back to New York because New York is kind of trying to build something there. He has a rapport there, and New York is kind of accepting of his antics a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be able to talk too much as a Cowboy. You can't go at Jerry Jones and things like that and have your own little secret secret people put out tapes and things like that to show that you're being mistreated or something of that nature, kind of ruined the season for the Browns when he was there. And, it's just tough to bring a guy to me, it's tough to bring a guy like that into your locker room when your team isn't chasing a ring or if your team isn't, but at the end of the day, he's just chasing money. And I think that a lot of teams have to understand that you just cannot go after players that are chasing money because you'll get duped in the long run. And I think OBJ lost a lot of our I think OBJ really lost a lot of us when he took that picture on a boat a few days before a playoff game. And I don't know if his commitment to the game is the same as his former teammate, Cooper Kupp. So what are you signing? Are you signing a guy who just wants to keep living the good life? Or do you want to sign a guy that's really going to help your team be better? That's my biggest thing. And I know a lot of people you hating, but this is exactly what we see. I'm just going off of what my eyes tell me. You know what I mean? And I know that guys do work their hardest. They try to be the best at what they do. They're just over here branding, all that good stuff. But sometimes you got to just remove that BS and just be a football player. You know what I mean? Because that's all we need you to do at this time. So pretty much, if he's committed to the game, he should be fine. But if he's gonna just be a distraction, I would say pay him, but don't pay him. Don't go crazy. You know what I mean? Because the NFL is not for long, and they owe OBJ absolutely nothing. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers, man, the Lakers lost a wild and crazy game last night, and we're all just still like, man, Lake Show, why y'all always got to do us like that? You know what I mean? So pretty much we are set for a nice little homestand coming up for the Lakers. They had a 6-game road trip, but they really did put up a great effort last night. And I think if you're a Laker fan, that game right there, even in a loss, it shows you that this team does show up. They want to play. They want to win basketball games. They're not just out here just running up and down the court. Now, AD had himself a game last night, but he did blow the game last night. He smoked 2 free throws with the Lakers up 2. Those was the icing on the game, but really was it the icing on the game? Because come on, you saw how hot the Celtics got late in that game. So sometimes it just happens. And the Lakers just got tired. They ran out of energy last night, which was kind of sad. And, at the end of the day, they lost. And the Lakers are still in last place. But the Lakers are probably the only team that's playing in a conference where everybody has a winning record at this point as well, too. They're 11-16. Yeah. But, they're right behind the Warriors, who are 14-14. So they're not that far apart in the loss column from the defending champions. So you have a very fickle Western Conference as is. You have Memphis and New Orleans as your top seeds right now. This could really change these teams can be caught by January. You know what I mean? Because they're like 2 games ahead of the next team that's ahead of them. And it's funny because when you have the 7th and 8th seed in the West, you have a team that can go on a run and become the 1st seed. So their playoff bracket right now is all mixed up. So the Lakers still have a little bit of the Lakers still got a chance, man. And I think that the Lakers are a playoff team, to be honest with you. I know it sounds crazy right now, but the Lakers are a deal away from, being a much better team. They are 3-4 on the month now, but Boston got the best record in the league, and Boston was not going to sit up there and let the Lakers come back. The Lakers had a 49 run last night. At one point, the Lakers were down 20 points. They were down 81-61. Then they were down 84-65 midway through the third quarter, and literally everybody had thrown the Lakers away by that point. I even had left out to go get my dinner, and I came back, and the Lakers were up. The Lakers were within 2, and I was like, wow, this is pretty nuts, because they did this the other night when I left out with Philly. So the Lakers have a penchant for being able to come back in a very short amount of time. But that just goes to show you this is a team that can get up 20, 30 points and possibly do this consistently once they figure out how to really put the shackles on people. You know what I mean? I think LeBron James has to be held more accountable for his bad defense, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people literally let LeBron slide because he'll go ahead and he can cover it up with some monster dunk or some big offensive play. But LeBron's bad defense has been a big hindrance and a big problem to the Lakers all season long. Yeah, I know AD missed his shots and everything last night, but the Lakers were still up 2, and LeBron had an opportunity to stop ball, lock it up on Jason Tatum, and he did not do that. All he did was pretty much do what my man Kevin Garnett said, what they used to say in the locker room in Boston. He sucked him off after the game. He was just, oh my God, Tatum's so good. Nah, man, we don't do that on the Lakers side. You know what I mean? You just lost to the rival. So it's like, dude, you got to be better than that. You truly do have to be better than that. So the Lakers, I just think that they have to start playing with more of a killer instinct. I think that they really need to stop doing backflips and doing dumb stuff whenever they get up 5-6 points or have a big lit play at home. They got to stop that mentality. You can't start celebrating until we about 90 seconds out of winning the game. You know what I mean? And we up 20 points. Stop doing that. That's why the Lakers' energy keeps getting zapped so much. So we're going to see how this one really shapes up and shakes out. And I think that the Lakers are on to something. So pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. The Lakers will be back tomorrow night from what I'm seeing here. The Lakers will be back Friday night versus Denver. So I do expect a bounce back effort in that game as well too. Denver is a winning team, but Denver has had a lot of questionable moments. So we'll see how that one shapes up and shakes out. And from there, we'll go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to talk about the UCLA game tonight. The only two top 25 teams playing tonight as well too. And a top 25 matchup. I'm sorry, there's other top 25 teams playing tonight too. But we will be talking UCLA Maryland tonight. And then we do have our NBA Wednesday 5 here for the Super High 5 as well too. And I'm going to break it on down for you. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into this UCLA game real quick, and they do play Maryland tonight. This is a precursor to what the future is going to be for UCLA because they are moving to the Big Ten. And you know what? I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in length when we do get to that point in time of them joining the conference. I know I talked about it before, but, this is going to be an incredible move for UCLA moving forward, that they're going to be a part of a really, really big conference, a very a conference that's big on tradition. It's not like they're losing their rival USC because that's exactly who they're tagging along with to go. You know what I mean? Because honestly, USC ain't going nowhere without UCLA, the biggest rivalry in the west of the Mississippi. So pretty much you add that rivalry into the conference of rivalries in a sense. You know what I mean? Because think about it. You have Michigan, Ohio State. You have Purdue and Indiana. You have who else? You have Iowa, Nebraska. I could just keep going if you want me to. You also have you just have so many really great matchups. You got Penn State, Michigan State. You know what I mean? Always a great game. And then come on, you got Michigan and Michigan State as well too. Ohio State, Illinois. That's always they're not in the same division anymore, but that's always a great rivalry game as well too. I'm kind of talking in a football sense. And then who does Maryland got though? That's always my question. Like, who's Maryland's rival? Maryland's rival was probably Rutgers. You know what I mean? Because they kind of came in backdoor style. Former ACC team in Maryland, former Big Ten team in Rutgers. They came over there kind of like, you know, teams that were kind of dissed by their conferences a little bit. Maryland really, really fell out with the ACC really bad. That's why they wound up being in the Big Ten as well, too. They got tired of the politics. So pretty much when you look at this game tonight, you have UCLA traveling to Landover to go ahead and go against this very talented Maryland team. Maryland started off the season very well. UCLA has some very good players, though. I think that Bailey is the man. If Amari Bailey can get off, then UCLA shouldn't have any problems. UCLA did run into some issues though. The opening weekend of opening weeks of the season. You know what I mean? So pretty much UCLA comes out. They won their first three. Then they went to Vegas, lost 2 in a row. They've won 5 in a row since that point, and they're 2-0 in conference play as well. I think that the biggest bounce back to show that they were really ready to roll was coming back right after that Baylor loss and beating Pepperdine by 47 points. Pepperdine is not a bad team. So that was pretty nuts in a sense that they beat up on Pepperdine the way that they did. Belmarine, they beat up on them as well too. And then they got a good win over Denver, and then they did what they had to do with Stanford and Oregon. So, UCLA is rolling right now, winners of 5 in a row, and they're just getting prepared for a big game Saturday at the Garden versus Kentucky. That should be real fun as well too, because they had a great game with Kentucky a few years back when Alonzo Ball was there going against Bam and all those guys. That was and De'Aaron, that was a hell of a game. And Wale Judge, you know what I mean? Not Wale Judge, I'm sorry. It was going against the he was actually I'm sorry. He was going against my man Malik Monk. So, that was huge. That was a big deal. That was a very fun game. And now UCLA plays them Saturday, and they're the 13th ranked team in the nation. Now, Maryland's number 20 in the nation right now. And Maryland comes into the game. They came into the game kind of leaning a little bit, but they did lose to Wisconsin on the road, and that was a close one. And then they came back around Sunday, played against number 7 Tennessee, and wound up losing to Tennessee in Brooklyn as well too. On Sunday, they lost to them by 3. So that was on a neutral court. So you look at this and you say to yourself, hey, this is a good team because they beat Illinois, the same team that beat the first team to beat UCLA this year. So, they have that under their cap, but they only beat them by 5 as well too. And then, they did have a nice little run there when they played in one of these tournaments. It was a Hall of Fame tip-off where they did win the championship, and they absolutely dominated St. Louis and Miami in that weekend as well too. So they have had some really good wins other than their last 3 games where they really played it close. All those games were decided by 5 points or less. So, they've lost their last 2 out of 3, but that's fine. They're still a tough out for UCLA. So this is a good measurement for both teams. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And this should be another really good game between two basketball powerhouses in a sense. We all know Maryland has a national championship in the last 25 years. UCLA also has a national championship, not in the last 25, but about the last 27. So, these teams are teams that everybody's very knowledgeable of and very traditional in CBB when it comes to who are the better teams. So this should be a very, very competitive game, and I look forward to it. It starts at 6 p.m. on FS1. So you guys check it on out. And that's a 9 p.m. start over in Maryland as well, too. That's kind of crazy. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's jump into our NBA Wednesday night. And up first, we do have ourselves a very good little game here with the Pistons and the Hornets. And the way that they're checking in on this one, you have a 7-22 Pistons team, and then you have a 7-20 Hornets team. There's a 3.5 point spread that with the Hornets as the favorite, and a 229.5 over and under tonight. So when I look into my notes, we have a 2-4. Pistons are 2-4 in the month of December. They've lost their last 3 in a row. What's new? Because they're used to losing 3 or more in a row, literally every month. that this season has been going. Then they're 3-13 on the road. As an underdog, they're 6-22. Versus the East, they're 2-14. And against the spread, they're 14-12-3. Now, when it comes to the spread on the road, they're 8-6-2. And when it comes to the spread as an underdog, they're 13-12-1. Now, versus the Eastern Conference, against the spread, they're 5-9-2. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, in their 29 games, they've went over 16 times. And when it comes down to their road games, which have been 16, they've went over in 9 of those games. So that's what you're looking at with the Pistons tonight. And then you have the Hornets, who are 1-5 in the month of December and have lost 5 straight. Now they're 4-9 at home, the Hornets, and then they are 3-2 against the spread straight up as a favorite as well too. Then against the East, they are 4-15 straight up against the spread. This year they're 12-14-1 against the spread at home. They're 5-8, and against the spread against the East, they're 8-10-1. Now, when it comes to the over under in their 27 games, they have went over in 14 of these games. Now, their 13 games at home, they've went under 9 times. So when I look at this one right here, I know that it sounds a little crazy that I'm going to totally go opposite tonight from what I just read off with over under. Both these teams tend to go under a lot in these spots, but I think tonight will be a game between two teams that have already played each other this season, and they had a really wild and crazy game the first game of the year. So I would expect them to have another wild and crazy game here tonight. So I do like the way that this one's shaping up, and I do like the over 229.5 in this spot. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Both these teams are dreadful at this moment, but I know that they both are looking for a way at the end of the day. So we'll see how this one shapes up. But actually, it will be their first time playing each other this year. I got a little confused. It was the Knicks who played them, and I got a little confused about that. So, Charlotte is back in the mix with them tonight. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Should be a good game. Should be a lot of fun. So let's move forward to the ESPN game tonight, and that's going to be this one right here, the Knicks and the Bulls. And this would be this is always a classic matchup, regardless of their records and stuff like that. Bulls Knicks is always lit. That's all I can say. And you got a Knicks team coming in here 14-13. This Bulls team is 11-15. This Bulls team is probably the biggest enigma in the league. If they had Lonzo Ball, they would be much better at this point. But they do always loom a danger, in my opinion. So you got to take them seriously night in and night out. Now, the Knicks are cooking right now. They have won 4 in a row, and they're 4-1 in the month of December. Now, on the road this year, they're 7-6. As an underdog, they're 6-10. And versus the Eastern Conference, they're 9-6. Now, against the spread, they're 13-12-1. Against the spread on the road, they're 8-5. And against the spread as a dog, they're 7-8-1. And against the East, they're 7-6-2. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 15 out of their 27 games this year. And on the road, they've went under in 8 out of their 13 games. So this team has a tendency to go under a lot this year, and especially on the road. So that's something to look at as well, too. As I talked about before, they don't have like a bunch of top-end scorers. They have a lot of people that score like 7, 8, 9 points a game. All right, so you have the Bulls, who are 2-3 in the month of December. Their last game, they lost by 1 to Atlanta. So they're still seething about that one in a sense. They're 7-5 at home straight up. They're 5-3 as a favorite straight up. And against the East, they're 9-7 straight up. Now, against the spread, they're 12-13-1. Against the spread at home, they're 6-6. Against the spread as a favorite, they're 4-4. And against the spread against the East, they have a very good record of 10-5-1. Now, when it comes down to their 26 games, and when 26 games, they've went under 15 times. And then when it comes down to their 12 home games, they've went under in nine of those 12 games. So pretty much this team is another team that has a tendency to go under, and this is a national game as well too. And a lot of times these national games, when they have a big spread like this 225.5, they usually go under in these type of games. And that's how I'm feeling in this spot tonight. I think that we're going to get some good defense on both ends of the floor, to be honest with you. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But this should be a good one. Another 3.5 point spread, 225.5 scoreboard watch for us as well too for the over and under. So we'll see how this one shapes up and shakes out. We move forward from there. Now this is this used to be a really fun matchup in the NBA, but the Spurs aren't that good anymore, and the Blazers are kind of middling in a sense. But this used to be a very fun matchup because they've played each other plenty of times in the playoffs as well too. So Blazers Spurs always bring back some really good memories. So Blazers coming to this one 4-1 in the month of December. They won 2 in a row versus the Wolves in that back-to-back series that they've been doing in the NBA this year, where you play a team twice in a matter of days. So on the road, straight up, they're 8-6. As a favorite, they're 6-3, and against the Western Conference this year, in 18 games, they're 11-7. Now, against the spread, they are the best team in the NBA, and they are 18-9 against the spread. And on the road, they're 10-4, and as a favorite, they're 5-4. Now, when it comes down to the conference in itself, they are 13-5 against the spread in conference. That's good. That's really good. And then you have the 12-13, and then in their 27 total games, they've went under 13 times. Now, on the road, they've went under 9 out of those 14 games. So this team has a tendency to go under a little bit more, but they are very dominant against the conference, and they have been one of the better road teams in the league as well too. All right, so Spurs coming in here 3-2 in the month of December. They've won 3 in a row, including a 19-point win over the Cavs as well too. That pushed them to 5-10 straight up at home, 8-17 straight up as the dog, and then they are 3-16 straight up versus the West. Now against the spread, they're 12-15 at home. They're 7-8 against the spread, and as an underdog, they're 11-14 against the spread. And then versus the conference, they're 6-13 against the spread. Now, when it comes down to the 27 games they've been in, they've went under 15 times. And then when it comes down to their home games out the 15, they've went under 9 times. So the Spurs come in here, they got their good win of the week. I think that the Blazers absolutely crush, and I think the Blazers are good to win this one by 10 or better tonight. So we'll see how this one shapes up and shakes out, but we'll move forward from there. We have up next is going to be the Cavs and the Mavs. Cavs and Mavs. This is a good one tonight. You got Luka going against this very deep Cavs starting 5. You have the Cavs coming in here 3-3 in the month of December. They lost their last game, I just said, to the Spurs. They're 5-9 on the road as well too. 15-6 as a favorite this year, straight up. 4-6 versus against the spread, and straight up versus the West this year. You know that they're coming fresh off that loss against the Spurs, and then they have the 15-10, 15-10-2 against the spread. They're 4-9-1 against the spread on the road, and then they're 13-6-2 against the spread as a fave, and they're 3-4-1 as a road fave. So this is kind of a tricky spot for the Cavs tonight. So we'll see. And they've went under in 18 out of their 28 games this year as well. And then they've went under in their 9 of their 14 games on the road as well too. Now you do have this Mavs team coming in here 4-3. They snapped a little losing streak as well too. And they beat OKC the other night, avenging that loss from earlier on this season. So they beat them 121-114. They are 11-4 straight up at home. They are 13-8 straight up as a favorite, and then they're 9-5 straight up against the East. Now, when it comes down to the spread, they're 8-17-2, and against the spread at home, they're 4-9-2, and against the spread as a favorite, they're 6-14-1, and versus the East, they're 2-9-2 against the spread. That's really, really dreadful. And then you have a team that's went over 17 times in their 27 games, and at home they've went over 9 times out of their 15 games. Now, it doesn't look good when I say, okay, I really do like the Mavs tonight. But the way the spread's setting up is literally a layup to me for the Mavs tonight. And you got this Cleveland team that's kind of struggling on the road. They just lost to a really bad Spurs team as well. I know that they'll probably be up for this one because Luka and all that good stuff. But when I look at the way that the Mavs play straight up, I'm not worried about what they do with the spread. I'm just looking at this in a sense and say that the way the spread's working tonight, this team should roll and roll very often. I know it's a 2.5-point spread for them, but I think that they're going to be good money for that tonight as well. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Cavs and Mavs, one of the better matchups of the night, if not the best matchup of the night. 17-11 going against 14-13. So we move forward, and let's go ahead and jump into the Wizards and the Nuggets. The Wizards and the Nuggets are going to be another really good game. You have a Wizards team that's 11-17, and then the Nuggets are 16-10 on the season. This is the biggest disparity in the spread tonight as well, too. You have the Wizards catching 11.5. You got an over-under 223.5. Now, the Wizards are coming in here losers of six straight here in December, and they've lost 10 out of their last 11 games as well, too, including 7 in a row. Now, they are 3-10 on the road, not good. 4-12 as an underdog, and 4-4 versus the West. That's the bright spot when it comes to them straight up. Now, when it comes to the spread, they're 10-15-3. On the road, they're 5-6-2. As a dog, they're 6-8-2. But versus the West, they're 5-3 against the spread. That's something that we do look at very closely. Then in their 28 games, they are split. They've went over in 14 and they've went under in 14. Now, when it comes down to the road, they've went under in 7 out of their 13 games. So it's razor thin on over and unders for this team this season. Now, when it comes down to the Nuggets are 2-3 in the month of December, but they've won 2 in a row and been off since Saturday. Now, they're 7-3 at home. They're 14-7 as a favorite, and this is straight up both those stats. And then they're 2-4 versus the East. 2-4 versus the East straight up. Now, against the spread, they're 11-15. At home, they're 5-5. As a favorite, they're 9-12. And versus the East, they're 1-5 against the spread. Now, they've played 26 games this year. They went under in 13 and went over in 13. Now, at home, they played 10 games. They went under in 7 of those games. So they have a 70% marker going under at home. So you have to look at that as a key stat as well. But the key stat to me tonight is the Wizards, the way that they play against the Western Conference when it comes to the spread, and the way that they've competed with the West this year as well, too. This is easily going to be a circle to the Wizards, but this could be a possible you didn't see it coming upset tonight as well, too. So, keep that in mind. But the plus 11.5 is almost still in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. I know the team is 0-6 for the month, but, once you get to this point of the month, you start getting a little desperate. So when you start getting a little desperate, you start playing better basketball. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But all in all, this is a good-looking game tonight, and that's where we're at. And pretty much, I know everybody's like, why didn't you talk about the Clipper game? Because I didn't want to. So pretty much, the Clippers, you guys already know the deal with the Clippers and everything tonight. And the Wolves, that should be a really good game. The next game on the nightcap on ESPN. But I truly do feel like I did cover the games that will bring you some money. So there it is. With that, we will be right back with Talking Tickets, and you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into our next subject in hand, and that's going to be Talkin Tickets. And I know that you guys get excited about this one because we talk those tickets, and we gonna definitely talk them tickets. Now here we are. We do have the CBB PrimeTime PK6, which is 63-1 tonight. You got DePaul playing against DeQuince tonight, and we have Duquesne, whatever you guys want to call it, because you guys got mad at me when I was like DeQuince, Duquesne, but all in all, DePaul is plus 130 tonight, and I do like them in this spot. They are a tough little scrappy team. I don't even understand why they're actually the dog tonight, but it makes sense. You know what I mean? They do want to go ahead and kind of get that action. This is how they test DePaul for us tonight as well too. Then you have the Battle of Kentucky with Eastern Kentucky going at Northern Kentucky tonight. I do like them with the +7 against Western Kentucky. Then we do have Georgia Southern tonight. Georgia Southern's in a peculiar spot, but they can be trusted. I think that they'll be able to get us a nice little win here. They got South Carolina playing against UAB tonight as a 16-point dog. I know that they're on the road. I know UAB is a really good team, but let's remember that UAB is in the Conference USA, and South Carolina is a SEC team. So it doesn't really matter where they put this spread at because UAB is not going to roll them like that. So I love South Carolina with the +16. And then we have Sam Houston tonight as well, too. Sam Houston's in a peculiar spot. They're playing against Louisiana Monroe, but I love Sam Houston this season. They're one of my favorite small schools in NCAA this year. They absolutely wrecked shop in the early preseason tournaments and everything like that. They did have a little hiccup against Nevada recently, but this is still a really good team, and they're a team that I do want to follow going for the rest of the year. Hopefully they'll be able to take care of their business and get to the tournament, because we all know that they got to win their conference tournament to even think about getting into the big dance. So Sam Houston is a team that you got to keep your eye out on. Now you have UCLA +105 as our play of the day for the for the game of the day. So pretty much UCLA +105. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's see if they can get a big win over possibly one of their new counterparts, and that's going to be Maryland as they transition from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, or as they call it now, the Big. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up with this one. We got the NBA Super High Five. We got the over 229.5 Pistons Hornets tonight. We got the under 225 tonight with the Knicks and the Bulls. Then we have the Blazers at -7.5. And then we have the Wizards tonight, home team, with the -135 on the money line. And then we wrap it up with the Wizards at +11.5 in Denver tonight. Hopefully they can go ahead and get a nice cover. And as I said before, this could be your big dog of the day as well, too. They're checking in at about +420, I think, tonight. And it's a possibility that they could hit it because, this Denver team has been the same team that has been popped like 2 or 3 times this year as a double-digit favorite as well, too. So don't sleep on these teams when they're double-digit dogs, because that means absolutely nothing. That team can step it up, have a big night, and things go from there. So it is what it is at the end of the day, but that's talking tickets for you. We got 63-1. We got 22-1. So that's how I see it. That's where I'm going tonight. Those are my tickets. You guys single what you like. And as I always say, small risk, big reward. You don't have to put $100 on the ticket, okay? The ticket is 22-1, right? All right. You want to make some $400, you put 20 on it. And you want to make some $1,200, you put $20 on this 6-teamer. You're not, and at the end of the day, You lose, it's okay, but because you're gambling for some real money, you know what I mean? So it's all right. I gave you guys 11 plays to run with. You can sing on them all as well too. So there it is. There it is. I'll be back tomorrow. We got Thursday night football. We got some more college basketball as well too. We're gonna dive into Friday's bowl games as well, and I'm looking forward to it. And we'll talk some boxing tomorrow as well too, because we have the Frank Martin Miguel Riviera fight going on this weekend in Vegas at the Cosmo as well. So that's something that I do want to dig into. So you guys, just come on back and enjoy the show. You know how it goes. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in. And this is the premier sports betting show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And this is the PrimeTime Angles Live. And as I always say, feeling good, feeling great. Bet with your head, not with your heart. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.